Appears undeterred after another leg of the president's revenge tour hit a roadblock. Attorney General Pam Bondi is promising to fight a judge's decision to toss out the criminal cases against former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James.
Both of them, of course, are longtime targets of President Trump's wrath, and the cases against them were brought at his urging. Bondi says the judge won't have the final word. Listen.
We'll be taking all available legal action, including an immediate appeal, to hold Letitia James and James Comey accountable for their unlawful conduct. I'm going to keep going on this. I'm not worried about someone who has been charged with a very serious crime. His alleged actions were a betrayal of public trust.
And both have denied the allegations against them. I want to bring in CNN crime and justice correspondent Caitlin Polantz to help us better understand the judge's rebuke yesterday, which was pretty strong, and how the Justice Department will move forward from here with an appeal, especially given the statute of limitations on Comey.
Yeah, we still haven't seen the appeal notices come in on these cases. So we're technically not in the realm of an appeal moving forward yet, although the Justice Department does promise us that they will be appealing this decision. It's two-part. They are going to want to appeal on the part that says that the Attorney General installing Lindsay Halligan as the interim U.S. Attorney in the Eastern District of Virginia, the judge said that was invalid. They're going to want to say the Attorney General has this authority. The defense of Lindsay Halligan, take it that way. The other part of this is you see the Attorney General there saying that she wants to move forward with a case against Comey. Big question there, though, about if they can and how. The alleged false statements he was making to Congress that had been charged in 2 counts in this indictment that's now dismissed. Those statements took place September 30th, 2020. It's only 5 years for you to be able to charge a case in federal court like this. And this judge said that indictment Lindsay Halligan presented 5 days before the statute of limitations expired, it wasn't valid. And so that's it. There's a footnote here where the judge addresses it. However, the Justice Department is very likely going to try and make arguments that they want to correct an indictment or that the indictment should stand, that this isn't, that the judge got it wrong. We very much expect that. At the same time, though, this isn't going to end up being just about Comey's case. There's a question of Letitia James's case. Does the Justice Department try and charge that again? These were dismissed without prejudice, meaning the Justice Department could try again. And then also, I am hearing there is chaos inside the U.S. Attorney's Office in Alexandria in the Eastern District of Virginia, with prosecutors not sure if they can move forward with filings, cases, new indictments, bringing grand juries in and working with grand juries if Lindsay Halligan's name is on those documents. A judge has said she's not validly the U.S. Attorney.
But how can they file more charges, new charges against Comey if the statute of limitations has now come and gone, 5-year statute of limitations?
Yeah, so, well, if there are some arguments out there that if there's a valid indictment, but something went wrong in the process of getting it, you have a time period afterwards where you can try again, like a 6-month window. There is an argument that some could make that this is one of those things, that they will have the opportunity again with Comey. But Comey's team, in a statement, quite clearly said yesterday there should be no further indictment. It's over.
All right, Caitlin, thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
I want to talk right now a little bit of legal analysis with Joey Jackson. Joey, so these cases were dismissed, quote, without prejudice. What does that mean for Comey and Letitia James?
Yeah, good to be with you, Wolf and Pamela. What it means is that they are not out of the woods yet. Had it been dismissed with prejudice, it means that it cannot come back. To the extent that it's without prejudice, the U.S. Attorney's Office can seek to refile. And yes, indeed, they can. There are 2 options. I think the one is to refile the indictment. You heard Caitlin speak of it. The issue is the law says that if an indictment is dismissed on a variety of grounds, you have 6 months to file an indictment anew. With regard to the 5-year statute of limitations. We do know that as it relates to Comey, they indicted 5 days prior. Now, Comey's people say, hey, that clock keeps ticking. There was no validly appointed U.S. attorney. The government's position will be no, not at all, that it would have frozen at that time and we have 6 months to go. The second option, as we note, and as they seem to note, is to take the appeal to the Fourth Circuit, which is based in Virginia. That is the appellate court that could look to see if the district court got it wrong. Now, the way I view it, Wolf and Pamela, is that there's a number of issues. Remember that we've seen in New Jersey an opinion that was consistent with this opinion, and that is that you have 120 days to get Senate confirmation. You've got one shot at the apple, and if you don't, then guess what? The district in that specific location gets to appoint the U.S. attorney. You, executive, do not. We saw it happen in Nevada. Same ruling, invalidly appointed U.S. attorney. We saw it happen in California. Why am I saying this? Because there's precedent. I know how oftentimes the politics are, oh, this was a lunatic judge who made a lunatic decision. Nonsense. There's precedent for it. Last piece of this, Wolf, and that's this. When Samuel Alito was at the Department of Justice, he wrote a legal opinion indicating that exactly what this judge ruled as it relates to the dismissal of the indictment on Comey and dismissal on Letitia James is to the 120 days to get Senate confirmation. That's what it is. Now, this Justice Department takes a contrary view, but interesting, if it goes up to the Supreme Court, will he change his opinion on that, or will he be consistent with what he said almost 40 years ago?
Interesting. If the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, appoints a Senate-confirmed U.S. attorney to review these files, could that person bring a more durable indictment against the New York Attorney General, Letitia James?
Well, I think it's going to be heavily litigated. I think still what we have to remember in speaking about this is that this procedural technicality was decided on one specific ground, and that was as it related to a validly appointed U.S. attorney. There are still a number of other arguments, as we know, with respect to whether the indictments would be valid. Is this a vindictive prosecution? Was the prosecution brought about not because there were factual meritorious issues, but because they're enemies of the president? Does his social media feed really feed into that narrative? Was it properly presented to the grand jury? Did the entirety of the grand jury get to see and evaluate what her charges were and what Comey's charges were? So there's a number, what I'm saying, Wolf, is there's a number of other issues, not just the 120-day issue as to whether the indictments are valid. I don't think we get to the merits of any case until we address all of the underlying procedural issues, last point. And that's the Department of Justice for years, historically, is a department that's separate and apart from the president. The president, yes, is the chief executive, but they're independent. They really go after people without fear or favor. It's all about the legalities and the law, the facts, etc. Here, it just seems that there are indeed political motivations that can be argued stemming from evidence, the president's own tweets. And so I think there's a lot to be sifted through with regard to whether these indictments would be valid anyway, even if the department, even if the administration wins on an appeal, it goes back and then these other arguments will come at play.
All right, I just have one quick question for you. You heard our Caitlin Polantz just reporting on all the chaos within the Eastern District of Virginia, right? What do you think the future holds for that office and for Lindsay Halligan?
I think, you know what, Pamela, I think it's larger than that. I'm curious to see not only that office, but what it holds for the variety of U.S. attorneys' offices throughout the country. These offices are about career prosecutors who are about their business. It's not about appointing someone who happened to be my attorney, who was an insurance attorney, who has no prosecutorial experience, et cetera. And so I think ultimately either you get her Senate confirmed, or you get somebody else in there who's Senate confirmed, and you run an office like it should be and historically has been.
All right, Joey, thank you so much. Great to see you.
Always good to have him with us here in the Situation Room.
A government built on impulse. Trump's administration operates like a reflexive organism rather than a strategic institution. Decisions are not weighed, debated, or analyzed. They are felt. A headline irritates him, so he announces a threat. A governor criticizes him, so he declares a confrontation. A CEO disappoints him, so he shifts economic policy. Emotion becomes legislation. Mood becomes governance. Instinct becomes the national direction. This structure is not accidental. It reflects Trump's worldview. He believes hesitation signals weakness, and that careful planning is unnecessary when instinct supposedly reveals truth. In business, this attitude creates spectacle and chaos. In government, it generates instability at a national scale. Institutions require predictability. Trump offers volatility. Agencies require long-term objectives. Trump offers reactive impulses. The result is a government where no one knows what tomorrow's priority will be because tomorrow's priority is whatever angers Trump tomorrow morning. Bureaucrats spend more time preparing for the next outburst than implementing last week's directives. Cabinet members become interpreters of presidential emotion, not designers of strategy. His team functions like an emergency response unit chasing the president's moods, each day extinguishing the fires he lit the day before. This environment destroys planning. Energy policy changes direction in a single speech. Foreign policy shifts in a single sentence. Economic policy swings because of a single insult. Trump's advisors aren't strategists. They're damage controllers whose primary job is preventing emotion from turning into a national crisis. Some succeed, many fail. None can predict which instinct will activate next. The danger is not merely inconsistency, it is the erosion of governance itself. When decisions come from impulse, they carry no long-term coherence. Allies lose trust. Markets lose patience. Citizens lose stability. Even supporters who admire Trump's aggression feel the consequences when chaos hits their jobs, prices, and personal safety. Instinct-driven leadership may feel decisive, but it produces fragility, not strength. Impulse is not a vision. Impulse is not discipline. Impulse cannot build alliances, secure economies, or maintain institutions. A government powered by emotion will always be one crisis away from collapse because it has no map, only reactions to the terrain. Trump's presidency does not move America forward, it jerks America sideways. And a nation cannot thrive when its direction shifts every time one man's temper does.